Hello everyone, welcome back to the Glassgirls network. It's been a little while since we've had a little fan catch up, but we've got plenty to discuss today. Looking forward to it with the boys here. How are we doing, gents? How are we?
Yeah, good, thank you. Yeah,
Good to be back. Good to be back as always, boys.
Good to be back as always. And yeah, it's good to see the football back as well, because I don't think we've actually done one of these little catch ups since competitive football has been back playing.
Yeah.
Obviously the Women's National League has been back a few weeks. Tier 5 and below kicked off last week, a few of the FA Cup games and stuff. So plenty going on in the world of women's football.
The Welsh League has kicked off.
The Welsh League, of course. Congratulations to Mike Harris on a fantastic first win of the season. So yeah, let's talk a little bit about Stourbridge, of course. Let's start off with our overall thoughts on what we've seen so far. Obviously, not being massively positive in terms of results. There's a few positives that we're going to discuss a bit later on. But let's talk purely results at the moment. The things that matter on this thing here, the league table. If you can just about see that at home, let's talk about them. Do we want to go over, John? Do we want to talk a bit about the first one initially, Sutton Coldfield?
Yeah, I think I was quite happy when this fixture first came out, because it was, you knew it was going to be an away game, because it always is. Our first game of the season is always away, probably because of the ground thing. So to have Sutton first. I felt that was good, because it's a local team and it was a team that's kind of at our level.
Mm-hmm.
So I always thought to myself that, okay, this is a chance where we could actually get some points on the board early, and kind of set our stall out and just take the pressure off a little bit. And it just seemed to, going into that game, it seemed like that they had a bit more momentum than us. So it kind of came at, I suppose, a bad time, because we weren't quite at full strength. So we went into a really important game, not at full strength. So it kind of worked against us in the end, and it was a great game, I must admit. I mean, at one point, we thought we were looking at each other thinking, we're going to win this game, pulled it back to 1-1, didn't we? And then we put the ball in the back of the net, but it was rolled offside, or no, fell throw or something, I can't remember.
Yeah, fell throw.
Yeah. So, at one point we was cheering, thinking that we was winning 2-1. Lovely day as well, great weather, nice to meet all the Sutton folk as well, who treated us really well. Because we was reporting for Switch that day as well. So yeah, it was a good day, but it's just unfortunate the result went against us, really.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, and like you said, I think there was definitely bright sparks in that. I think the first goal scored by, I want to say Ellie or Ella, one of the two, was a really, really good goal.
One of your favourite players,
she's a good player on the left hand side. And then Imo got our other goal as well, which was nicely worked from a corner, just poked it home, easy as you like, really, but you got to be there to score it. But apart from the goals, there was signs of things going right in terms of the way we were moving the ball around, the way that we were able to keep a bit of possession for large majorities of the game. However, it's just those defensive errors that cost us that game.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's probably a subject we're going to maybe talk about a bit more. Just that slight lack of, I don't even know what it is. It's sort of awareness, sort of just readiness, I guess. A bit of, just not getting to the balls first. It seems that our opponents are always that one step ahead of us at the moment, which is understandable. This is a young squad that haven't really played a whole lot of women's football as a whole, let alone together. So, yeah, obviously it's going to come with your teething problems, but I think, from what I saw anyway, there was definitely grounds to improve upon in the future.
Yeah, definitely. I think BAYLO can pick out a lot of positive moments, and you interviewed her after the game, didn't you, for the radio, and there was a lot of positives there that you could take away from that, and I'm sure she said that throughout the whole season so far, to the players, and the players do come across confident when you're talking to them, and I know they're not going to turn around and say, oh no, we're going to lose this next game or whatever. I understand they're not going to do that. But there are reasons to believe that results will come. But we do also have to remember that some of the teams that we're playing are going to get tougher. So yeah, it's going to be hard, but there's definitely going to be signs. And I think you seem quite positive as well about from the things that you're hearing about being positive as well.
I'm always positive. I'm a Stourbridge fan, so win, lose or draw, you're always going to get positivity out of me. But I'm a realist as well. I'm very hopeful, but I'm a realist. I've only seen the one game. We went to the West Brom game in the Cup.
Mm-hmm.
I know they were classed as a home side, but technically they was away. I've got to admit, and I said this to you boys, watching that game, they were just a step quicker. And you just said there in your opening gambit, the teams that we're playing so far just to be that bit quicker than us lot. West Brom were playing 2-touch football, but we were playing 3 and 4-touch football, and that was the difference. We were very, very fit. I've got to say, coming straight off a holiday, a lot of them obviously piling on the pounds. Don't get me wrong, I'm not calling anybody fat, but you've been on holiday, you haven't had much training, you haven't played much game time, you are going to be a bit slower. But I was surprised how fit the whole squad was. Which I took that as very, very impressive. Again, a couple of mistakes at the back, here and there. A few tweaks need to be made going further on to the season. But I walked away from that game not disappointed. Yes, it's West Brom. Yes, they had half the first team and half the reserve team, etc. But we weren't really expected to do anything. It was a bit of a test for us. Now, the other games you just mentioned, I can only talk about what I've seen. I haven't seen them. I've only heard things. And I've speak to a couple of players as well. And as you rightly said, there's positivity there. There's things to be taken out of it. And from what I am hearing, we are creating chances. And again, I don't like to sound like a broken record, boys, but last season under 8, it's not an aid thing because we was in a higher division, much better teams, the gap's massive. We weren't even getting out of our own half. So if you want to talk about positives, that is a positive. Creating chances, not scoring as many goals. I think we only scored 3, letting 14 in the league, but we are creating things. Now I take positives out of that. It's just getting into the 6-yard box or shooting at a certain time and getting those goals. But as you two boys said, and all of us watching this and know, defensively, we've got to do better. Because at the end of the day, we can play some good football, we can have our moments, but goals don't lie. And at the end of the day, on paper, it will say Stourbridge 1, so-and-so 4, 5. And it's got to be rectified. But from what I've seen personally, early days, I'm happy. And there's room for improvement. Look, BAYLO's a rookie. She's not, let's be honest, she's not, we're here to talk reality. She's not expected to do anything. If she goes and wins the league, the club will say it's the best appointment ever. They made the right choice. But if she doesn't do anything, so it wasn't to be expected. We gave her a chance. She's got to learn a few more bits and bats. So I think she's in a good place in terms of what she's expected to do. But she will probably want more. And of course she will. She wants to win every game. She want to play some good football and score as many goals as she can. That's a fact. But from what I've seen, boys, I can take the fitness is very good, creating chances, and let's roll on to the next game of the season.
Definitely. And John, do you want to just touch on any of those results that have come after there? I know I don't think we've either of us have been at any of them games, but anything that you might have heard from the Notts, the Sheffield, or the recent Leafield game.
Yeah, obviously you mentioned the Albion game, which I watched, and I thought 4-0 against a team that's higher league than us.
We weren't disgraced, did we?
No, it wasn't disgraced. No, absolutely not. I think if I'm going to say anything, I'll probably say that the Notts County one would be disappointed because I consider them to be like a mid-table kind of side. So to lose against those with the score lines that we did, it's disappointing. Sheffield away, it's a long journey up there, isn't it? Leaked a few goals there. But let's not forget, and I know that you'll go into a bit of detail later, there's a lot of youngsters that's come through at the moment because Meg hasn't fully developed a squad yet and built a squad that she's probably 100% happy with for this level. She has called upon a lot of youngsters, and when you play youngsters in the National League who's not used to playing National League, who's probably never played in the National League before, when you go travel to Notts County and travel to Sheffield, it's going to be very tough. It is a big ask, so you've got to be a bit realistic in what the expectations are. The argument would be, well, how are we in this position in the first place? However, now that we've got to kind of say, okay, what's realistic and what's not. And I think Leafield kind of just summed that up. 15 months ago, there's no way we would have lost 4-0 to Leafield. However, you look at the players that Leafield have got now. They've got Tier 3 experience, an experienced manager, an experienced coach. So I'm not surprised that we are losing, but we do need to build a squad quickly because it could quite easily spoil it in a bad way.
I'm glad you've mentioned that. Sorry, Kieran. I'm glad you mentioned that about the size of the squad because if you go on the FA player, the players registered, there's 21 on there. 5 of them are standard players. So you've kind of nailed it. 5 of them are standard players jumping up 2 or 3 divisions. A lot of them open age football for the first time. It's a massive ask.
Yeah,
it's a massive ask. And now I think we've got one you're going to speak about that's not with us anymore. So BAYLO's only got a squad of 15. She only had 2 subs a weekend. It's not good. It's not through her fault. She's obviously trying to get players coming in. She wants a bigger squad. She wants the right players as well to go forward. So it's a big ask. It's a big ask, and she's doing the best she can with what she's got.
It's definitely not being helped as well by I think a couple of injuries in the squad from what we know.
Injuries, absences,
holidays,
suspensions. Obviously can't write out. I believe for maybe one more game.
If she got
in the Notts game. So it's definitely. As you guys say, I think it's hard for her to attract players at the moment, obviously because she's not got that wealth of experience that someone like Aid had last year, who has 10 plus years in the game and can call upon people that he's known for quite a while. She's new on the block, and she's got to build that reputation for herself. So yeah, but I think what she is doing is utilising the standard players well, the ones that are standing out and the ones that she needs. She's not just chucking in anyone for the sake of it.
No.
She's probably thinking, where can these players, these young players, fill a hole that will work. It's not as easy as just going, you're playing well, get you in the first team, but we've got a million midfielders already, so you probably won't get much game time. It's players that she thinks are potentially ready for that first team step, and she wants to try them out. So
she's not stupid. She's got
No.
IQ. She knows what she wants and what she wants to do. It's the resources she's got. To do that, you know what I mean? You just nailed it there. I mentioned about being a rookie. You've kind of more or less said the same thing. She's kind of learning on the job herself, isn't she?
Yeah,
where to put players, where not to put players, get the correct players here. It is a learning curve, but as you rightly said as well, it needs to be speeded up a little bit because games will run out. Points will dry up. What we got left now, I think there's about 50 odd points left to get in 22 games, whatever there is in the league. So there's a lot of points on the board. Let's see if we can grab as many as we can.
Definitely. And speaking of points on the board,
let's
let's speak a bit about this league table. We're not last. We'll take that all day. So yeah, obviously, like you say, plenty more to play for. It's not really worth looking at in detail just yet. But just a quick note, obviously, us and Lincoln find ourselves bottom on 0 points. Everyone else above us has at least one win under their belts. Obviously, some of our relegation contenders will be your likes of Sutton Coldfield, Worcester, potentially Kiddy Harriers, potentially Northampton. There's definitely a lot to play for.
Two things that strike me on that then. So what I'm looking at is Worcester and Sutton have all got a win already. So Sutton got a win against us, and then Worcester got a win against Sutton. So they got 3 points on the board to put pressure on us early, because now we have to get a win or 3 draws. I don't know what's going to be easier there, but we have to get at least one to get above them quite early. And I know it's still early days, but we still got to get them. And the other one is just the goal average or goal difference. I don't know what the terminology is. Goal difference. There we go. It's quite extreme, isn't it? So you go from -3 to then -11 to -18. So it's like you said, we're creating chances, which is great. It's more entertaining because we are creating chances, we're scoring, but a few individual errors, which we need to work on, has cost us that amount of goals there. So yeah, I mean, look, it's not. I'm not looking at that thinking, oh well, this is exciting. But what I am looking at is there's at least 4 teams there that's going to be in and around the bottom.
100%.
Even before the ball was kicked, there's going to be around 4 teams around the bottom, maybe 5. And it was also interesting, Northampton are 8th there, so it just shows that anything can happen, because I'm sure Northampton will find themselves a little bit higher throughout that season. So yeah, you can't read too much into it, but what I would say is the pressure is on us quite early, isn't it?
100%, yeah. And just speaking right at the top of the table, because I know we all find this league so entertaining and so fascinating. This is probably your top 3 that you would have predicted come the end of the season: Peterborough, Boulmere and Leafield. So it's very interesting that those are the teams with a 100% record so far, and I think they probably are the best 3 sides in the league. But in terms of that title, it's definitely up for any of them this year, I think.
It's just when they play each other, so they haven't played each other yet. So they played obviously Northampton, but when they start playing each other, that'll be an interesting
very
one.
interesting indeed.
Right.
Yeah. So let's talk about one player that has come in and out in a matter of months. So when we went to watch the TNS game at Dudley College, me and Dave were very impressed with a new centre half that we didn't know too much about. We didn't even know her name at the time, and that was Keely Wilkinson, who was the skipper at Alvechurch last season. I believe was a trialer when she played for the TNS game. I don't think she did.
That's why I didn't know her name.
Yeah, right. Yeah, of course. Yeah, she hadn't initially even signed yet. But we liked what we saw from her. We thought, she got herself stuck in. She played well. Had a bit about her. And then she went on to go and sign for BAYLO's team.
Yeah, I guess so. Unless I where she's gone on to just yet.
No,
I don't
of
think
course.
it's been announced.
No, of course. But yeah, she's gone already, which is a loss. I think it's again more than anything, it's a body out the door. Do you know what I mean? It's one more player out of the squad that could make up the bench, could make up the starting 11, whatever that might be. But it's just a numbers-based thing at the moment, isn't it?
Yeah, and I'll bring you in on this one as well. I think it's just a perception from the outside. So even though she may have ticked boxes for us, she may not have ticked every box for BAYLO and the club. So I get it might be a loss to Stourbridge, it might not be a loss to Stourbridge. We don't know the player and the story well enough just yet. But yeah, you are right. We did enjoy watching her play in that first TNS game. I think she made one of the mistakes in the following game with this
Sutton game, the first goal.
Yeah, but that's going to happen. Yeah. But I mean that's going to happen. But but it's just a perception from the outside now. If you don't know that player, you're looking at it already thinking, oh, they've lost a player already. So we need to turn that round, and we'll get on to BAYLO shortly, won't we? Talking a bit about BAYLO in some depth shortly. But just to show that we've lost one already, but that's going to happen. I said it last year with Aid. When you sign 18, 19 new players, realistically, you're not going to get all them right first time, are you?
No,
and also, we have to get a squad together for the start of the season. You've hired an inexperienced manager at this level with no team. So realistically, if you're going to bring in 19 players, that's a big achievement in itself to bring in 19 players within 6 weeks. So to get them all right is unlikely, isn't it? But go on, TJ.
Yeah, no, I echo everything you said there, mate. And it's a shame, really, because we see something in a player. Doesn't mean BAYLO and the team see the same thing. Mm-hmm. We're just fans. We're not. We don't do. So we would, it wasn't tongue in cheek at the time. We were kind of saying this could be the new Tilly Phantom. She had that same kind of aura about her at that game. Obviously, it hasn't worked for X, Y, and Z reasons. We don't know the reasons why, and we wish her best of luck wherever she's gone.
100%,
but it's a shame that we didn't get to see more of her because she was one of the ones that kind of stood out in that TNS game. Mm-hmm. But again, she's departed for whatever reasons, and wish her the best of luck.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, fair play to her. Let's talk a little bit about these call-ups then. Obviously, we've spoken a bit about the numbers being low, BAYLO having to call upon some of the standard girls. Let's talk about the 4 that have made first team appearances so far this season. Obviously, Dave, I presume you want to talk about your sponsored player first off.
I'll leave that to the champions in waiting section, so you carry on.
Okay. Let's just name them then. So obviously, Isla Mcnally, Ella Stark and Karina Kamari, were featured in the Sheffield game.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Correct. Yeah. And those are 3 players that, even with the very limited standard minutes that I've seen this season, and Dave, I'm sure you'll say the same. Those 3 are 3 that have stood out to me, and it's justified in giving them that experience. I think that was during standards last friendly on that day as well.
The one before Dudley Town, which we went together to watch. And just to mention that Ellie Stark actually started the game and finished the game, from what I understand. And the other 2, Isla and Karina, both came on and got a good half an hour to 40 minutes.
Yeah, 100%. Well. Yeah, and then also just in that last game, the Leafield one, Jasmine Brahma. Sorry.
I think
I've written it horribly here. That's why. She got the nod in goal. Obviously, Ellie Maylock out for an injury. I'm not sure when she's due back.
Probably the kiddie game.
Yeah, it would be that. It would be our luck, wouldn't it?
It makes sense.
So yeah, we've had a different goalkeeper. The name escapes me of the girl who started in goal.
Was she on loan from Derby, John?
I believe so.
Yeah.
I believe so.
No, just
like an emergency thing. So yeah, she played in goal for the Notts County and Sheffield game. But yeah, Jasmine got the nod for the Leafield game, which in turn meant that Standard had to go and sign a new goalkeeper that I'm sure you talk about in a little while. But yeah, for those 4, it's definitely a great experience, right? Like Isla's 21-ish now. I'm not sure about Ella, but I think the other 2 are also very young as well. So to get that tier 4 experience,
massive.
It's absolutely massive for their development, isn't it?
Yeah, it is.
Definitely.
I've got the league table of the this one up there as well.
Oh yes, of course. Yeah, we never went through that.
So the FA Women's National League Cup plate, the determining round is now done on a league. So you've got to play 3 other teams in your league. If you win the league, you go through to the cup. If you come in the top 10 as a runner-up, you go through to the cup. And then all the 3rd place team would qualify for the plate, and then if you finish 4th, I think it's like the best top few 4th. So basically, you want to finish second or third to get into the plate. That's ideal. You don't want to finish in the cup because you know you're probably going to get knocked out in the cup. But if we can finish third, then we've got a chance of going through and watching a good cup run, can't we? And at the
100%.
moment, obviously we are fourth at the moment, but we have played 2 good teams, and we have got. It's a tough league. Look at that. So if you can't look at it, if it's too small, it's West Bromwich Albion, which we saw already. Sleaford, who we played on the weekend. Leicester City Academy, and then obviously us. So obviously it's a Birmingham County. It's 150th year anniversary. So it's massive as well. That area there, and it's just going to be a very tough thing, isn't it? It's going to be very tough to get out of that. I'm looking at it.
It's going to sound really silly, but you boys bothered about the cups?
Not massively. Obviously, I think there is.
Because BAYLO's building.
Yeah, there is a slight financial incentive now, I do believe, from the plate and the cup and all that. But I'm not massively, from a footballing perspective, not bothered by it because I don't see us. Because I think
when I said about hopeful and reality. Reality, I probably know we're not going to win that.
No, because in these groups, like, even if you finish third, you could have 2 off days and finish third, but you could still be a very good team and end up in the plate, and you probably will go on to win it if you're a good team. So for us, especially going into the cup, we don't want to do because it will be pointless. But going into the plate, you could potentially still face one of these top teams. So it's not worth chucking your eggs all in one basket to go for the plate or the cup. I don't think.
But what I would say is it is exciting. It does add a bit of
excitement.
excitement. So potentially, I mean, like if things go in a bad way, the league could look very bad for us at some points this season. So to look at like the FA Cup, the County Cup, and this, it just adds, different teams, and it's just a bit of excitement. But you're right. Ultimately, you're probably not going to win this. But it's just nice just to.
It's like Kieran said about putting your eggs in one basket. That's kind of what I meant. But the focus for me would be on the league.
Yeah, of course.
Especially after Christmas, seeing where we are in the league as well. You know what I mean? What's more important? If we have a decent cup run, are we still struggling in the bottom of the league? What's the priority?
Oh, definitely the league.
A bit of money coming into the club, getting a bit of silverware, or the league. For me, it'd be the league.
I think last year as well, going from 3 to 4 is not the end of the world because it's still a national league.
Yeah.
Whereas if you fall out of tier 4, then you're not a national league, and it's going to be very hard to get back into
regional,
it.
Isn't it?
Exactly. So I think that national league badge means a lot. And I mentioned the 150th anniversary for the County Cup. This is a fixture list for that one. And it's going to be very exciting. We've got Burton at home, so it's probably one of the most easiest fixtures that we could have. I don't know if this is seeded. I know one of the other counties' cups has been announced that it's seeded. Looking at that draw, there's a lot of big teams against smaller teams, so it's potentially seeded. I don't know, but it's a home draw against a weaker team. That is one game that we should be expected to win. Absolutely. So we can look forward to that one, and that's dated on the 19th of October.
Yeah, I can't wait for that. I do love the County Cup because it's just something a bit different. You know what I mean? Like you know a lot of the teams that you're playing, and obviously we know a lot of people at the teams that we're going to be playing in this competition. So yeah, give us a little run in that potentially. Get some not easy ties because I don't think any of them are particularly easy. Looking at the names here. But some ones where we've got a decent chance. Build. It's part of building that momentum, right? I think was it last season.
We won Birmingham last season, didn't we?
Yeah, and that was one of the bright sparks of the entire season. Obviously, eventually it didn't amount to anything, but that was one game that for all of us and potentially for some of the players and the managers thought, okay, we can do something here. We've beaten a decent side here. Let's push on from this. Starting with not an easy tie, but a potentially winnable tie. I think definitely can create that buzz again.
Also with that, obviously October the 19th, you said there, John. I want our season to kick on before October the 19th. But if it doesn't, touch wood, it will kick on before then. If we do get a kind of an easy draw, if you said it in Burton, and we do get momentum going and we do score goals going into our next league game, that's a positive. Because you're on form, you're scoring goals, let's bring it into the next game. But as I said there, obviously before October the 19th, I want us to pick up some points to score some more goals, but it could be a vital game, that.
Yeah, definitely.
In terms of confidence building, winning games and kicking on,
Lots to talk about. I think we're halfway through on time, so...
we need to speed it up then. Right. first debate, John. I believe this is one of your points as a bit of a mood
Conversation.
lifter.
Yeah.
A mood lifter.
Well, it's a mood lifter, but it's something that has been going through my head for quite a while now, and I think it came out when in my head was at the Sutton game, and we was there. It was me, you, Richard Clark, and Anthony Falkeston, and we was there, and it just reminded me a little bit of the old days, because the attendance weren't great. You know, the opening game of the season, it was nice weather. People was probably out and about, summer holidays. It was a bit of a way to travel as well for not necessarily a glamorous name. No offence, Sutton Coldfield. So, and Sutton Coldfield didn't bring a load of fans. So it's not like it's the Wolves and people going for a day out to watch Wolves or Albion, is it? So the attendances were quite poor. But what I wanted to say there was, this is about BAYLO. From what I've seen since BAYLO took over from day one, from a fan's perspective and what we cry out for and what we might have lacked a little bit last year, especially at the start, was that fan interaction. So I want to go out to say, from a fan's point of view, everything that BAYLO's done since she's took over has been a mixture of professional but also exciting for us fans. So, like, you know, she remembers the way Stour used to be when we was winning, and she's took aspects of that but still like tried to be as professional as she can around us. So she's not giving away any secrets that she shouldn't be telling us. She's not doing anything like that, but she's interacting. She's encouraging players to go back to the club. She's encouraging players to speak to the fans, and because a lot of these players have probably never had fans before. They're usually just players' parents who turn up.
Yeah.
At the War Memorial Ground as well. They come back for that drink. They're not being loud or anything like that. But they're doing what we want them to do. Well, I say we. I know we do. I'm not saying the whole of the Stourbridge fan base, but they're there, and it kind of reminds us of the good times. And just because like the results aren't there, you can see she's trying to take snippets of what worked well in history and trying to bring it back. The problem is, the way I started this conversation was, there's now not enough fans around at the moment to see what she's doing.
Yeah, that's true.
And it's going to be really key at that Kiddy Harriers game, the first home game of the season at the WMG. How's it going to be? How many fans are going to be there? What's the club going to do? This is potentially the biggest game of the season coming up, not because of the Andy Fisher and everybody else, but because it's a local derby. It's a big name, and people will be interested, and they'll be coming down. There's not too many matches this season that's going to be bigger than this Kiddy Harriers game, in my opinion, apart from like a glamorous FA Cup tie that we may get. So let's see how it goes. But what I would just like to say, just highlight that. Now, I'm not saying that she's ticked every box in the women's football community. I don't know what's going on out there between teams and networking and all that kind of stuff. I don't know what the perception is away from Stourbridge. But from the fans' point of view, we was happy to see her announced. We was hopeful that she was going to bring a bit of positivity to the club, and I think she's done that. But you just need to get some performances and results on board, don't we?
Yeah, you're right. You're 100% right. We went to that West Brom game. I mean, I've got a lot of time for her. I'm not just saying that because we're sitting here. I have got a lot of time for her. We went to that West Brom game, and what did she do? She came over to the touchline and she fist bumped all of us.
Yeah.
I've never had that from a manager before.
Mm-hmm.
Ever. I know I'm not so much new now, but since I've watched, a manager's never come up and done that to me before.
Mm-hmm.
She comes back to the club again after that West Brom game. She's back here all the time. It's more or less a second home, isn't it? Because she's always here. But she came back, and me and John was at the bar, you know, putting our money into the club till, Jason's till. But she came and she stood with us and she spoke to us.
Yeah.
She went through the game with us. What do we think about the game? She didn't have to do that, but she did.
Mm-hmm.
So those kind of things that she's doing, as you rightly said, are positives in our eyes.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Win, lose or draw, she's there to talk to you. She's not rude. She's not arrogant. She's part of the furniture, isn't she? She is Stourbridge, as you rightly said.
Yeah.
And I love it.
And then when
she's approachable as well. She's approachable, isn't she?
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? You don't think, I'm not going to speak to her. You know,
Yeah.
So.
And then when you start talking, I'll cut you up, sorry. But I think when you then start talking about sponsorships and putting money in, you're more likely to do that when you actually know the players, because you've had a few conversations with them, to give up our hard-earned cash for 200-300 quid or whatever to someone that we don't know. And in fairness, I haven't heard of in some cases, because they're still young and coming out of academies or other levels of football. That's hard to do, isn't it? So you're not going to be able to give that money for sponsorship. Whereas when you do start knowing a few of them, it helps. That's just one. That's just one of them.
And I think as well, when obviously Andy Fisher was in charge and then Mike Harris, they prioritised quite a bit creating that feel that
The film.
I don't even know how to describe it properly, but like you had to be a certain character to fit the mould at Stourbridge, and
The Stour factor, you called it.
the Stour
Stour
factor. That's the one.
Yeah.
But they made it a big objective to create that and create that bond between not just players and supporters, but between everyone at the club, the staff, the managers, the people that volunteer, everything like that. And I think potentially just because last season how not desperate recruitment was, but like how it almost seemed like we needed bodies through the door at times, similar to how it is this season. We couldn't cherry pick those players that you're a very good player, but potentially you don't fit the vibe. Where it's just like, you know, get everyone in, see what sticks, and then we'll ship whoever out who we need to, and that can disrupt the Stour factor. So yeah, it's something like that. It's something definitely like that.
I get completely. I used to call it the Stour factor as well. DG man, you got about 15 minutes, 20 minutes to talk about the old Stour standard.
No.
I said it.
Champs in waiting.
The
Right,
champs.
let's go. Let's get the old picture up.
Oh, look at that.
Here we go, peeps. Look at that. Look, that's courtesy of my daughter, by the way. She's done that for me. So obviously it says the return of the Mac. I'm referring to Isla.
You going to say your daughter's name?
Her name's Freya. She's always at the Stourbridge game. Hello to her, get an autograph, get a selfie with her because she's done all that. Anyway.
Return of the Mac. That's good actually. That's really
Great,
good.
isn't it? So that's obviously Isla Mcnally. Kieran mentioned earlier about sponsorship. I sponsor, me and my partner, my boxing podcast, sponsor Isla going forward this season. I've put Return on the Map for a reason. I'd never really heard of her. You boys have seen her play back in the Aberystwyth days. Kieran came down and watched the Dudley Town friendly, which we'll elaborate on in a minute. He said she's changed so much.
Yeah.
She used to be a winger, and now she's kind of filled out a little bit. She's in the middle of the centre of the park, and she's doing a great job there. She's doing really well. However, she had an ACL injury, didn't she?
Yeah.
So she's been out for 2 years, and now she's returned, and she's returning to replace some of those girls that's left. Half the team that's left, especially in the middle of the park. She's got a big job to do, but I think she can do it. I think she's one of the players that can do it. Again, we mentioned off air talking about sound bites coming out from people that she was one of the players coming through that was one of the better players. Now it's her time to shine in this team. There's going to be a lot on her shoulders this season because she is one of the better players. And from what I've seen this season, I've seen majority of the friendlies going forward, a lot of trialists, but she's one of the ones that has stood out so far. So I'm looking forward to seeing what Isla's all about this season, especially from my own optic view as well, because she's not that winger anymore. She's a centre midfielder player. She's very strong, looking like a bit of a playmaker. I'm not going to compare her to the other players, which is unfair because they're own players, but some of the players that left, she's more than capable of filling that role. Now, you've seen her play. I know you've only seen her once since the Aberystwyth days, Kieran.
Yeah.
But you was impressed. We walked away from that Dudley Town game, and your words to me, get back in the car, was I really enjoyed that.
Yeah, 100%. I did. Yeah. As a whole, I really enjoyed that game. It was proper entertaining. Even if you were a neutral, I think you would have really loved that game. Was it 5-4 in the end? I think it finished.
We're 4-2 down, weren't we?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and pulled it back to eventually win, which was lovely to see. And yeah, Isla was one of the players that stood out to me. Obviously, John, we know her from back in the day. We know her dad really well. So we know already what she's about. But it was really interesting to see the evolution of her. It's like Isla 2.0 that we've got here. And I'm a big fan of what I saw because, yeah, like you say, a proper marauding, is that a word, marauding midfielder. Who,
she's quite powerful now, isn't she?
Yeah, definitely.
She's very powerful.
Who, like you say, has big boots to fill, but is one of the most experienced heads in the side now, and I think she can carry that weight on her shoulders.
Definitely. Thoughts, John? I know you haven't seen her play yet, but going back from what we've just said, she has probably got a lot on her pressure on her shoulders, being one of the senior players, even though she's been out for 2 years.
I think the fact that she's always stuck around the club, even though she's been injured for so long, I think the fact that her dad's still very supportive and still speaks highly of Stourbridge, I think the fact that Magson's continued to look after it, even though he's not got any rewards for it for the last couple of years.
And all her mates are left. All her mates, she could have easily jumped ship.
Yeah, easily. Yeah. I think all that shows how much that everyone cares about, how her family cares about Stourbridge, and also how much Magson cares about her as well. So yeah, looking forward to seeing the play. To be honest, whether that being a first team or Stourbridge standard, it's been ages. It really has. But her name was there for as long as we started watching like 4 or 5 years ago. Obviously at a younger level. So yeah.
Yeah. Well, she's
I'm
been
looking
called
forward
up.
to it.
She's been called up already. She got half an hour. So it won't be the first. It won't be the first time. There'll definitely be more to come because she's going to get better and better during the season.
Yeah.
I have got so much to say, but because we're short for time, I will kind of rush through it a little bit and get to the important parts.
Yeah, give us the
So
information.
if you flip through to the next one, John, because I did want to go through a lot of the players that's come and gone and things like that, but we'll jump into what happened on Sunday, just gone. There's another bit of artwork from my daughter there. Yeah, it says Rome wasn't built in a day, a picture of an AI version of Ryan Magson. Sunday, they played the first game of the season at home to Arden Forest. I believe Arden came up from the league below.
There he is.
What we saw in pre-season, he looks very angry there, and he had a right to be yesterday. What we saw in pre-season was good. It looked very, very good. From the 14-0 defeat against Knoll to going beating Tier 6 teams.
Yeah.
Going into the first game, yes, we had a few players missing out of the first team. Chelsea Hassel's not back. We didn't have Tegan Hands. But I thought there would have been enough there to actually get something against Arden Forest. I spoke to Ryan after the game. He wasn't happy. As a fan, I wasn't kind of happy. And I know, speaking to some of the girls, they weren't happy. Whatever they've done on the training pitch just didn't work on Sunday. Just nothing seemed to work whatsoever. There was effort there, but every kind of ball they went for, they were second to it. Decision making wasn't right. The formations didn't seem to work. Isla was playing out of position. It was just one of those games, unfortunately, where everything went wrong. Now, I put Rome wasn't built in a day because we know what a Ryan Magson team is. He builds teams and players move on. He develops them. So rather than calling it the standard, it is a development, if you like.
Yeah.
And after one game, he won't stand for that. I don't think the girls will stand for that. So going into the commentary game next week, I think we'll see a very, very different standard team. But on a plus note, I was going to say that I've written well, I've got my notes now because I'm taking what I'm saying. Again, yeah, like I was saying, points wise, 63 points left to get. So it's not a negative. There's 63 points left to get, and they can still do something in this league.
Yeah,
they can really do something in this league as well. So I just move quickly. I have to look at my notes there because again I've got so much to say. I get tongue tied and I forget what I'm saying. So just lastly, before we do move on, I've got a mention here about Eden Ball. Now, Eden Ball is one of BAYLO's players. She's had her from the under 16s, I believe. She's still at the under 18s. She's in Magson's first team along with Abby Jones. You can see this big old lump here for Arden Forest, right? Trying to take Eden out. Failed to do it, but I do want to mention because we spoke about younger players going into first teams. She's going into tier 7. She is small. She does need to bulk up a little bit. She probably lacks a bit of confidence. But what I saw on her on yesterday, she, again, don't want to kind of compare players, but she can kind of feel the boots for Ellie Williams. Very, very skillful. Now that, I'm going to call her a big lump, on the floor there, she had the beating of her about 2 or 3 times. Yes, we lost 6-1, but she had the beating of her about 2 or 3 times. Very skillful, can be a baller. I just wanted to give a shout out to her and to Abby Jones, who scored the goal of the game, by the way. Another one of BAYLO's under 18s going into the first team. Consolation goal, yes, but it was the goal of the game. And going forward, those two can be very, very positive players, you know. So I think they're very, very good additions. And I just think the BAYLO link, the Magson link, the development, moving players on, rookie if you like, etc. There's loads of different terminologies I could use. I need to point it out. Plus, Dunn Sports, that photograph's fantastic. And he needs a shout out for what he does for the men, for the women.
100%.
Standard. That's a cracking photo. He's got that. So.
Definitely.
Yeah, and just lastly, Worsley School. Nobody knows what's happened with them. So it looks like we're going to be at cast review for the
Oh,
Right,
really?
okay.
Not even ready.
Yeah.
Oh.
Brilliant.
But yeah,
Cheers,
and
Wesley.
take a breath. I have got more to say, but maybe leave it for next time.
Yeah, I will just say just quickly on the result. Obviously, last season they started off fairly slowly, standard.
That's what I was going to say.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's nothing I don't think to worry about. Again, it's that development, it's that progression, and we're going to keep seeing that throughout the season.
They pulled 12 points back last season, didn't they? Yes, different sets of players, but Rome wasn't built in a day, unless Mara Magda's on the job.
This is it. Yeah, he could have got it done. I think.
There you go. There you go.
Yeah,
Onwards and
Dave.
upwards.
Let's talk about our second point here: the whole player sponsorship. Obviously, Stourbridge standard sponsorship, Isla Mcnally, but no first team. Talk to us about that one.
Yeah, so we made a point on last month's episode, didn't we, about certain things that seem to be controversial, and we got comments in the YouTube section, which is fantastic, which means people are listening, people are watching, and they're interacting. It's not a criticism.
We love the chatter.
Yeah.
We love the.
It's a question of why,
Yeah.
as fans. Yes, you mentioned there about the sponsorship. Ryan Magson's £80. You get the shirt. It goes towards the VO. All kinds of things like that. Happy to do that. Love it. Love parting cash to give to this club. There's still names available to sponsor, but he has got a majority of the team now sponsored. Was going to do the same as the first team, like I did last season with Daisy Clements. Didn't see any advertising for it whatsoever, so did get in touch with the club. Had a response. I'm not going to mention any names. Had a response. The match ball sponsors available, and the match day sponsors are available for X, Y, and Z prices. But I've had confirmation, so it's not Chinese whispers or hearsay or sound bites. I have had confirmation that there's no women's sponsorship this season, which is quite disappointing because I'd rather put my money into Stourbridge Football Club rather than putting it into another football club. Which, again, I've just said, the question is why aren't we doing it, boys? I had no kind of explanation why. I was just told we're not doing it this season, which is fair enough. That's what you want to do. But free money, it was £180 last season. I know the likes of Redditch and the likes of Kiddy have put theirs up sky high, but people are still paying it. The option's still there. Even if you don't want to give me a free shirt, or if you don't want to give me free tickets or training session, not bothered. It's free money. So yeah, a bit disappointed in that. I'm just curious of why we're not taking free money or why we're not sponsoring any of the girls, because the men are getting it and we're getting the match day and the match ball. Why are the girls getting left out? So that's my question to you. You guys at the top at Stourbridge Football Club, but obviously you two have got something to say about it as well.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. I think for everyone that obviously isn't involved with the club and doesn't know full stories or anything, it is a confusing angle for us to see. Because it does seem like just saying no to what could be, a couple grand if you do it right.
Yeah.
Obviously, £180 it was last year. Let's say it's 150 this year, because we've regressed slightly. Split that between 15, almost 20 players. I mean, I can't do the math off the top of my head, but that's a decent chunk of money that it seems that we're missing out on. And when we know how tight the finances are in the women's section, just in the club as a whole, right? Not even just the women's section. It's a bit of a confusing one for me personally. I'm not sure I completely understand.
Yeah, so many different things. So I remember when we first pushed sponsorships. I think it was it the start of Tier 4, and I think at the start of Tier 3 we raised £3,300 in sponsorship money. I supported Rich Clark, putting the feelers out. We never needed to advertise it because we had so many people wanting to sponsor that we had a waiting list. So as soon as somebody joined, we had the next person. Some people had 2 sponsors and was asked to let one go so somebody else could sponsor. We wanted to sponsor the pathway players, but we couldn't because the men's Stourbridge standard didn't. So it wasn't fair for the men's side because we couldn't do it for the women's side because the men's side didn't do it. So we know that we could quite easily raise 3,300. I reckon we could have got 4,500 that year. But when you start saying, like, why don't we do it? I think, is it because 1, they haven't got the people to look after it. 2, it's not really on the forefront of the minds, even though it should be because it's easy money.
Yeah.
3, have we actually got the fan base now to want to give that kind of money? No, we haven't got the same fan base as when we was getting 400 fans down here, and some of these players who we invested money in was with us for a very long time, and these new players obviously aren't. So I don't think we would get like that £4,000 kind of mark. However, could we get a few hundred? And I'm sure if you ask BAYLO, at the start of the season, or even now, we'll give an extra grand just for the sake of it.
Pay for a VO, pay for
something, won't it? Yeah. And it's just more importantly, why have you stopped doing it? What like I say, 2 or 3 years ago, they wouldn't let us go above and beyond because the men's team didn't do it, men's Stourbridge standard didn't do it. Whereas now, if you want to mirror them, so if you're going to mirror the men, why how come you not advertising for the women? So it's gone like the reverse on now, hasn't it? So it's just a bit of a weird one why they've not done it. I don't know.
And I love the player sponsorships personally because I remember when we sponsored Meg in potentially the Tier 4 season previously.
Yeah.
we sponsored Meg as the fan collective, I believe we were known as there,
Yeah,
and obviously we've done
Mcnally,
the Glassgirls network throughout all the time. But
All the
I
shirts
feel
on
like
the wall, guys.
you can just see the Need Easy one there.
Yeah.
But it gives you like for me it gives me like that special little connection to them.
Yeah.
Like I want Meg to do well because she's the player that I've sponsored. I
Yeah,
wanted to go and
correct.
score a worldie, so my name's on the thing.
And we don't get anything from this either, by the way, because
No.
we're not like
We
haven't
pay
got
out.
businesses. Yeah, we pay out. We're not
It's not a
advertising
business expense to us.
Yeah,
Hence
absolutely.
free money.
Yeah.
It's nice to be part of the Stour
50%.
family. Just don't get wrong, because I do a boxing podcast, so that kind of, even if I get one extra listener, by looking at, what's that, and have a type in it, that's all I want from it. But again, you mentioned about the players. You feel like you've got an affiliation with that certain player because you sponsor them as well. Plus you put money into the football club.
Yeah.
It's a business at the end of the day. No, if there's no coin coming in whatsoever, then it falls flat. And that ain't just for Stour, it's of any club.
Yeah.
So, we've all asked why. Comments in the box below, please.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, the one thing that we don't want is the extortionate prices that some clubs are charging, because we've seen some of the clubs, not naming any names, but
I'll mention two, didn't I? But
yeah, some of them are
higher,
punching above their stations, I think.
But people pay it though.
They do.
Businesses will. Yeah. Businesses will.
It's not for your average fan like
Not like you
Some
used to do
people
it.
some people do it as well.
Yeah, some people have more money than sense. What can I say?
That's the talk for another day.
Yeah. Right, John, if you want to flick on, my friend, we can talk about our final little. Sorry, that one's caught me off guard there. Yeah, Dave, you wanted this photo in.
I did. I did.
Talk to me.
Well, for anybody that's Kieran's age, you won't have a clue who that is on the screen. If anyone that's mine and John's age, you know exactly who that is and where they are and what they're doing. That's Mr. Miyagi and Daniel's son from the Karate Kid, right? So that's the master and that's the student. So obviously we're going into the Kidderminster game this weekend. I'm not saying BAYLO or Andy Fish looks like them. They're both better looking than these two.
Mel Rogers' headband though, maybe.
Oh, yes, Rogers' headband, yeah. Rogers' headband. But we had Kidderminster last season in the FA Cup. We all know what happened there. We don't need to go down old ground, but we're playing them in the league. And I don't think, we spoke off air, I don't think this game's getting as much love and as much attention as it should be. John mentioned there, it's the biggest game of the season so far. Not just because it being a derby, not just because we need the 3 points, but there is a narrative there. And I've come up with a narrative there because if you remember last season when Kidderminster did beat us on penalties in the Cup, BAYLO was on the bench with Kiddy. She was one of the ones that ran over to the Ellie Mae lock and the players and celebrated. Well, she ain't there anymore. She's not under the tutelage of Andy Fish anymore. She's sailing on her own ship. So it's the master versus the student, and let's see who can win on Sunday. So I'm trying to kind of give it that kind of story, if you like, along with a lot of the ex-Stourbridge players coming back, boys. Playing for the first time on the War Memorial Ground since they've left. You know, your Lammies, your McGoverns, your Levicks, even your Phoebe Hills. There's a nice narrative there as well. You know what I mean? And we're playing them twice as well. So if BAYLO hopefully does get the win, Andy will want the revenge at Agbrug that back in January.
Yeah.
So just trying to spice it up if you want, guys. So yeah, that's why we've gone down that.
Yeah,
route.
I think like you mentioned, like people look at the Kiddy Stourbridge fixture, and especially last time out when he got all the coverage, and it was on the FA Cup official pages, right?
Sorry, as soon as that was announced, that cup game, we all went crazy for it.
Yeah, of course.
As soon as the leagues come out for this season, no one's spoken about it. And I find it strange because there's still BAYLO being under the tutelage of Andy Fisher, now going against him. To me, that's even more. No disrespect to Wade, but it was the Andy Fish derby. There was no affiliation.
Yeah.
So that was the Fish derby. This one could be the BAYLO derby, but in reality, it's the John Foster derby. But we get, but yeah, sorry to take you off, brother, but you get my point.
No, 100%. Yeah, I think it's like you mentioned, that narrative has changed, and you know, some people prefer the original one, some people will prefer this. Okay. But I think they're both as interesting as each other. This one, in my opinion, is a bit more interesting, like you mentioned, because it is the old coming back to the new. Yeah. No, the new coming back to the old. What am I trying to say?
No, it's the old come back to the new.
Yes.
One more.
Yeah, of course. Yeah. And obviously, BAYLO being in one dugout, Andy Fisher and Harry and Matt Goyers and all the rest of them being in the opposition. So yeah, it's a really, really interesting narrative. Because we all love a narrative, right? That's what football's about for me.
That's what we need more of.
Yeah, the narratives, the little dynamics, the storylines, whatever you want to call them. They're what makes football tick for me. So yeah, let's talk about the game as a whole. What do we expect to see? What are we what we thinking? What's the initial vibe?
I think
John.
I'll tell you what I'm expecting to see. We're going to get there first, aren't we? We're going to get there at 11:45, as we always do. We're going to put the flags up, as we do. And then we're going to see some of our former players turn up, who will be, I think, they'll get a warm welcome before the game kicks off, I'm sure, by a lot of people, probably yourself included,
of course,
because you know the history. I think when you think of Stourbridge at the moment, until the new team starts building their own history and their own era, you know, you do think you need Deasys, your Amber Lawrence and your Mill Rogers, etc. And they're going to be turning up and going into the opposing dugout. So I think we'll see that. I think we'll give them, the big chunk of the fans will give them a warm welcome and they'll say, hello, how are you?
Come 2 o'clock.
Yeah, and then Andy Fisher will walk into the opposing dugout, which is going to be really weird. I don't think it's like as powerful as the Kidderminster game in regards to like the Andy Fisher thing. I think that's gone now. You know, he's played his old club, but him returning to War Memorial Ground, and let's see what reception he gets. Obviously, let's not forget what he did achieve, because sometimes people, you know, to think of like Isla last season. Let's not forget the 3 titles that he did achieve for us, because that's never going to happen again. So he's played a big part of that. Hopefully, everyone at the club gives Andy a warm welcome and the welcome that he deserves. As for the game itself, I think it's very much, even though Kiddy have got some young players, I still consider them to be the more experienced team now, because those players have been in the National League for quite a while. They've played with each other, whether it be a Stourbridge or Kiddy, a while. So, in my opinion, I think Kiddy would be the favourites at the moment, because I think they've been together a little while longer than Meg's team. However, could Meg's team pull something at the bag? If the longer it goes 0-0 or only 1-0 to Kiddy, as an example, the more I think that could potentially make Kiddy a bit nervous.
Yeah.
Last time they played, Stourbridge should have been the favourites because I was tier 3, Kiddy was tier 5. Now, Kiddy...
it's a bit more of a level playing field.
I think so. Kiddy are slightly higher than the league. They've got the more higher profile players. They've got league winners in there. So, in my opinion, Kiddy are going into this as favourites. How are they now going to react as favourites as opposed to the underdogs? I'll throw that one to you, DG. Do you think they're the favourites and do you think it's different?
You know me, my bias as well. I'm going to be biased because I'm a Stourbridge supporter. And when you said about warm welcomes, of course I'll give them a warm welcome. I've got nothing against the team. I want every team to fail that plays against us. Why would I want any team to be successful? I support Stourbridge, so I want us to win all the time. Do you know what I mean? But it's going to be everything you said there. You've nailed it perfectly. I do think Kidderminster will be the favourites on paper. They have got the more experienced players. They have got the league winners and all that kind of thing. They've got the managers who won the leagues as well. So everything you said there is 100%. Once that whistle goes at 2 o'clock on Sunday, it's going to be a war.
Yeah.
It's going to be a war.
Potentially more than the other one. So the A Clements one, because the A Clements team didn't really have any history with.
And you spoke to them. Some of them didn't even understand properly why that was such a massive game.
Exactly. This is the point. This is what I said earlier in the opening bit. That game had more attention. That game had more love.
Yeah.
And you just said there, some of the girls at Stour didn't know some of the kiddie players. A didn't have an affiliation where this one has. That's why we're trying to kind of sell it.
Yeah, and you best believe BAYLO is going to be firing everyone up to the best of their ability.
Ellie Maylock should hopefully return. Fingers crossed.
Yeah,
in goal.
There'll be a few Stour players, a few kiddie players. I think it's going to be. I had my say last time. I wouldn't say I fell out with people, but I had debates with people about the game, about how the match was played, the style of football. But that, as I said, that's been and gone now. This is going to be a lot closer, I think, in terms of football. Kidderminster aren't going to go 1-0 up and just sit back like they did. I don't care what anybody says, they did. Even Andy Fish said on the podcast with John, we should have done better. Why, when you won the game? Because obviously they sat back, but they won the game. It's irrelevant. But they'll come. I think they'll score. I think Kidderminster will score on Sunday. They'll come forward. They'll attack. You know what Mill Rogers is all about? I said it on here before. She ain't a tier 3 player, but she's more than capable of scoring goals in tier 4. But she's got a couple already at tier 4, isn't she? I think this season.
Yeah.
So she's gonna be up against Demi. She's gonna be up against Liv Owen. It's gonna be a great battle. I think both ends of the pitch. We're getting forward. We're creating chances. We need to put it in the back of the net. I think it's going to be a really competitive game.
Yeah.
I think it's going to be an exciting game, and I think it's going to be goals scored. So if anybody else has got anything to say before we make our predictions, let's rock and roll with it. We're going to leave him to last.
Yeah, let's do it. Yeah. So personally, I agree with what you're saying. I think Kiddy have enough firepower to at least make us concede.
100%.
However, I feel like just that vibe that BAYLO will probably create of just, this is what it means. This is why we need to win. This is what we're going to do.
Do you want to see her angry on the touchline? Do you want to see her shout a bit more on Sunday?
Not angry, because I think
Not out of long-term analogy, but
because I want to see a bit of emotion. I want to see a bit of emotion,
That's it,
definitely.
emotion.
Each other in the dugouts.
Yeah, I want to
Can
see.
you imagine
I want to see why it matters to both of them, because it does matter
That's
to
what I
both of
meant,
them.
yeah.
It's a tie that could very easily shape what the table looks like, and I want to see why both of them want it so much. Why both of them want to potentially stay in this league, potentially push to mid-table. Like, what does it mean to both of them?
I said last season, I think that this game came a year too early. When Aidy, Fish playing his old club a year too early, and I thought that because I didn't think at the time maybe Kiddy was 100% ready to take on a tier 3 side, because obviously Stour back then was playing constant tier 3, the Kiddy was playing constant tier 5. I didn't quite think going into the game that they would have matched them the way they did. That's controversial.
Yeah, they did it. They won on penalties. Fact.
Yeah, okay. I don't know if it matched them or what, but whereas now I'm thinking, has this come a little bit too early for BAYLO? Because I think BAYLO's still nurturing a team, and I know that it's the best possible time when it comes to fiery, because obviously the relationship's there. However, I don't know.
I'm scared at his prediction.
Yeah.
2-1 personally. 2-1.
So you're going 2-1.
I'm going 2-1. Stour will win, obviously.
Yeah, I'm going exactly the same way. And I remember when we done the same prediction last year. Obviously, I got it wrong because it ended up 1-1. But I can see Kiddy going 1-0 up. I can see him being very dominant. I think BAYLO's going to give him a rocket up their arse the second half. Demi Phillips, right? She can score a free kick.
She can.
I've seen her score in the
We've seen
standard.
them.
She can score a free kick. She's going to get a free kick on Sunday. She's going to put it top bins, and someone's going to toe poke a late-minute winner. Molly May Summers.
Oh,
Ex-Kiddy?
Imagine
yes.
that. Yeah, ex-Stour. Come back to Stour.
Yeah, that's where I see it going. That's my prediction. But same as you, Kieran. 2-1 to the Glassgirls. Here we go.
The one we've all been waiting for.
The John Foster derby.
Well, it's time to go, guys. We are 58 minutes in, and we hope that you all enjoy the game. No, I'm also on the fence. I think when you conceded the amount of goals that Stour have conceded, and the only team have come up against the likes of Deasy and Mill Rogers yet, then I expected to concede a goal. But do I think that Stour will probably give the best game that they've given so far? Yes. And that's my prediction, guys. There we go. And I'll leave that all with you.
It's a solid effort, John. It's a solid effort.
1-1.
1-1. Okay.
Oh,
We'll yeah.
1-1.
We'll take that, I guess. We'll take that. It's the best we're getting out of him today, Dave. I'm
It's
afraid.
a bit. Jesus.
Kiddy will take the lead.
By the way, this is
And
going
we'll
up
score.
before the match, so God help him at the War Memorial Ground when he sees BAYLO and the likes. Jesus Christ!
Yeah.
But he's an honest guy. Fair play to him.
No, yeah, he's got his
His
beliefs,
reasons.
yeah, and his reasons, and he'll stick to them. Fair play. But yeah, hopefully we'll see you all at the big one, the Kiddy game. If not, standard where you'll be.
They're away.
Let me know. Yeah, what's the
They're away at Cotton Green. Do you guys know Cotton Green?
no of them?
Is it
yeah,
Cotton?
Is it Coton?
It's one T. I never
Cotton
heard of it
Green?
until I
Well, they're
come
away
across
to them.
football.
don't know. Yeah,
Anyway, and the week after, I think
yeah.
I can't remember where we are, but it doesn't clash. So we're at home against Coventry.
Okay.
Not the proper Cov.
Yeah.
Another version of Coventry down at Castle View for now. So if nothing's going on with the first team, pop down and come and see Ryan Magson's rebuild. Rome wasn't built in a day, remember? So come and see Isla Mcnally and some of the girls do their thing and get 3 points and challenge for that league again. Champions in waiting, guys.
There you go. Sounds good to me. Right, we'll see you at either of those games. And yeah, like and subscribe and all that, and have a good one.
Cheers,
Come on,
guys.
Stour. Come on.